What's going on, guys? I made a post the other day on Facebook that said post spawn bites. Why am I not focused? What post spawn bite is going to be fire or something like that. And everybody was getting on there. Oh, the spawn's over. Spawn's been over. As if they all go on spawn and all come off spawn at the same time. As if shad aren't spawning. I think everybody assumes you're talking about stripers or catfish or whatever species they think you're targeting. They don't think deep enough to say to themselves, hey, he might be talking about threadfin shad, or he might be talking about herring, gizzard shad. Who knows what I'm talking about? All I know is if I was going to do any night fishing, I would definitely be taking a spook with me right now. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy spring. What's going on, Wes? Everybody say a little prayer for Wes. Wes's daughter was in a car accident tonight. That's why he's not on. And Pete is at I think he said a hockey game. That tracks. I can see Pete watching hockey. Well, yeah, every year it's different. Sometimes we get an early spring. Sometimes we get a late spring. This year, let's see, I took some notes down here somewhere. What did I do with my notes? Here we go. Yeah. It seems like, well, up until days ago, the water temp was just, it would get cold, and then it would get hot, and then it would get cold, and then it would get hot. And the water temp would go from the 60s to the 70s to the mid 60s, low 60s, to the mid 70s. And it was just fluctuating. It's almost like it was staying in a spawn type temperature. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, if it's staying around that spawn temperature, the bite ought to be fire. No, that's not the case. And every year, it's always something different. Everybody, I think that's what keeps us coming back is we start out fishing and we ended up hitting one of those good years in the spring. We happen to be at the right place at the right time, gets us hooked. And then we come back and it's never that good again. And I think it's because we look at fish as like machines, like they don't have personalities. Not personalities, that's a bad word, but sometimes I think fish, they think for themselves. I think they go against science, they go against the grain. When it's time for them to spawn, they spawn when they want. That's why they go in waves. That's why all fish don't spawn at the same time. It's because they are individual creatures. Bluefin tuna, wicked tuna, the show Wicked Tuna. You know how the certain times of the year the bluefin come in close to shore, like up around like Massachusetts. Well, these guys they don't have to spend a lot of money on gas. They're close. But that bite never lasts long, and they end up going back offshore with the rest of the fish. They come in, whatever they're doing. If they're spawning, they come in, they spawn, and they leave. Well, what's been happening is these fish have been coming in spawning and then not leaving, and they've been staying. Like the majority of the fish may go, but there'll still be some fish there. And it's like they're residents. It's like they don't leave. It's like you got a group of fish that's like thought for themselves and was like, hey, let's just not listen to our DNA and let's just hang around here and eat. There's plenty of food. So the same thing goes on in freshwater. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Wes. Same thing goes on in freshwater. They don't all spawn at the same time. They do things, especially when they get bigger. As fish get bigger, they start to kind of, you start to find them where you never thought they would be. Catfish. Here it is, middle of May. So I haven't been fishing in the past. I went saltwater fishing last weekend, but weekend before last, but I haven't been actually fishing, not that I can remember, in the freshwater fishing. I hadn't been freshwater fishing in probably a week and a half. But I imagine the fish, the catfish, a lot of them are going on spawn now. But the funny thing about that is you can still catch good catfish. And like I said, you can still catch big catfish. But probably not the peak time to target trophy catfish, middle of May all the way through the end of June, first week of July. That's when around the first week of July is when you start catching those big males. They'll be the first ones to start just absolutely ravaging food, and that's when you can catch you some big. You'll catch the fish, and they'll be bruised up. They'll have bite marks on them. I'll tell you a technique I've always wanted to try for post-spawn catfish, trophy catfish, is to go to like the river portion of a lake when they're running water after you've had some rain and bump. I think that bumping would be a excellent tactic to use in the summertime when you got a lot of current. I think that a lot of the fish, you can catch them everywhere. They'll be suspended. I don't think many people bump down here in the South. I think that's more of a river thing. You got guys that do that in a river. But it's it's not sit back and relax. It's you have to have you gotta have a couple, gotta have a crew, because you gotta hold, like, you're only fishing like one rod a piece, and you're just bumping I think you put your nose in the current and you just slowly start to troll, and you just let the current push the boat back, kind of like what we were talking about, reverse trolling with for stripers. I think it's just about the same thing. And you just use your trolling motor to troll into the current, so the bait's also going slow. Well, we got 9 people watching. What's going on, guys? Are you guys anybody that's fishing, you catching all post spawn fish? Anybody catching any fish that's still spawning? It's fun. If you're ever wondering what the shad are doing, especially the herring, if you're wondering what the herring are doing, go out to the lake at night. Or the threadfin shad. The threadfin shad will be like on Lake Norman, people go out there and they catch bait on the wall. If the wall is absolutely teeming with bait, threadfin, then they're spawning. They're there to spawn. Threadfin spawn on hard surfaces. So do gizzard shad. You ever go to the dam, like a dam in Tennessee? You see all of the shad swimming right up on the dam. They're up there to spawn. That's why they don't stay up there year round. If you ever notice, spawning areas are teeming with life, like microorganisms. That's what's so amazing about fish or all creatures. When they go to spawn, they're going to spawn in areas where their young's going to have plenty to eat. And what does shad feed on? Plankton. What's on the hard surface? What grows on a hard surface? Algae. You got zooplankton, phytoplankton, all types of microorganisms on hard surfaces. Netflix asked, have you caught any ligmas? I have not. Honestly, don't know what a ligma is. What is a ligma? Ligmas. Ligmas. Does anyone know what a ligma is? I have not caught any ligmas. No, but did anybody else? Ligma balls. Yeah, you're not helping me, Netflix, just by saying Ligma balls. I still don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it seemed like the water temp was just stuck at 70 degrees this year for the longest time. I mean, it was fluctuating, but it was on average 70 degrees forever. And when that happens, things they'll like hit and then they'll trickle. It's weird. But I guarantee you, and the thing about these bait fish is you never know. Things change year to year. They don't spawn at the same exact time. Like your threadfin, they may, like last year, they may have started spawning in April, and by middle of May, they may have been done. This year, they could continue spawning all the way through May. To all the way till June. Same with the herring. I don't do herring. Do they spawn before threadfin? Like who spawns first? And I'm sure that it varies. If I think maybe threadfin spawn before herring. Pretty sure they do. But nobody knows it for exact sure what's going to happen. Things change year to year. I guarantee you there's been years where herring have spawned or started spawning, and could have been spawning at the same time. You're not going to know until you go. I am planning on going to the river this weekend. Work's been crazy. Been making a training video for work, and it's so loud in there. They want me to do a training video on a press, and the press line. I mean, we're stamping. These are huge presses. We're stamping out parts. I mean, it's so loud. I got wireless mics on my guy, and the audio is terrible. The lighting is terrible. Netflix says he subbed. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's get on here and talk about fishing. I hate to leave you guys hanging. I got a handful of guys that really like listening to this show, and Wes wasn't able to make it. Pete wasn't able to make it, and I was very tempted to just not get on. But I was like, hey, I got to get on and talk to my fishermen. My fishing buddies, there's a handful of them are expecting this. They actually, for some reason, they enjoy watching it. So I get on here mainly for them, but not real. I need to try to grow. I haven't really, I've been doing this for years. I've never really actually put forth that much of an effort. All I basically do is, I take a couple of notes and write them down and get on here and just talk. I normally got some co-hosts here so we can bounce things off of. Wes says he hates waiting rooms. I'm assuming he's at the hospital. Yeah, I feel for you, brother. The old emergency room, it is absolutely terrible, man. So many horror stories. You go up there, some people get to go straight back. I guess it depends on if you got my daughter cut her hand on a can making pumpkin pie, rushed her to the hospital, and I saw a guy that I work with there, Caterpillar mechanic. And he was there with his elderly mother. His mother was in her 80s, and they had been there, I forget how many hours. I want to say like 10 hours. Like it was all day they had been there. And we got in and we went straight back. And he walked up to me and he was like, what in the heck, man? How do you get to go straight back? You must know somebody. And I was like, no. I said, maybe it was because my daughter, she was 17. So she was a minor technically. So I guess they expedited her for whatever reason. But yeah, she'd cut her hand. I forget how many stitches she got, but she sliced her hand open, and it was pretty nasty. Yep. It's tough. It's tough doing this by yourself. You don't have a lot of guys comment. I got my buddy Wes. Got Netflix, spelled Netphlics. So it's like a little catchy way of spelling Netflix. And I got Dead Eye Clips. Hello from Quincy, ILL. I'm assuming that's Illinois. What's going on, Ricky? Yeah. Yep, you would think that the bite would have been fire this spring, but that just wasn't the case. For some people, I guess it depends on where you're fishing and what you're fishing for. Wes just said, did you tell everybody I bought a skiff? Let me post that comment up there. I did not, but Wes bought an awesome skiff. Wes, you got the one with the 150, right? I think you got the one with the 150, and it's not the 238, it's the one smaller. I think it's a 19-foot boat. But yeah, that boat with the 150 is going to haul ass. Great boats, absolutely great boats. Now, did you get the new one, the new kind you were telling me about? That's like what do you call it, where it has a top, that, or is it single wall? It's a 21 LS. Okay. Yeah, my buddy Alan has a 24-foot skiff with a 150. Awesome boat. But I almost think there's just too much room on his boat. But his boat's just too big. You cannot beat them for the space. No, you cannot. I tell you what I would like to do is do like Drew Rankin did and move the console forward. I just think that is awesome. I think that it's worth it. And I think you'd have to get some longer steering and a lot longer throttle cable, but that's not hard to do. And don't get a T-top. I mean, T-tops look cool. I used to love them. I used to always want a T-top boat. I got a T-top boat, but I tell you what, I had a boat before the boat I have now. I had a little Scout 172 that did not have a T-top, and I miss not having a T-top. You can cast, and the videos that you can just make much better. You know, you guys know, you know me, I like to make a video on the boat when we fish, and you can just make a much better video on a boat without a T-top on it. I mean, they're nice. They're going to give you shade. You know, it's more storage. You got your rod holders on there, and it's it looks cool. And you got an e-box. You put your e-box under there. You know, I understand the vertical storage aspect of it, but I just don't think it's worth it. I think you're just more free without one. I don't know. That's just me. I know Bimini tops, they don't really look that cool. They kind of, you know, you're not going to look like a 1%er. You're going to look like more of a Guggen with a rocking the Bimini. But I feel like the Bimini is really the way to go. I mean, because there's only certain times that you need shade. You know, you're not going to be out there in the summer and you know, with the sun high in the sky every time you go fishing. And when it rains, a Bimini top's going to give you more coverage than a T-top anyway. But yeah, like Alan's boat, the 24-foot skiff, and I'm sure yours is similar, is you got so much room up in front of the console. I feel like it's so much wasted room. I mean, because the party's happening on the back half of the boat. So screw the ride. I don't care nothing about the ride. I'll take a bumpy ride to be able to chill and have a better atmosphere on the boat. Not just better fishing, because it's going to be better fishing too, but you're going to have a better atmosphere. It's almost like having a wraparound sofa. It's like everybody's there. Everybody's forced to mingle and interact. Somebody can't be at the front of the boat and the console is separating them and they're like way up there. You know, everybody's on the back of the boat. Everybody's there. You're forced to kind of hang out. I like that. And it's better for the bait tank too, because, you know, if your console is in the factory position in the center of the boat, a little below, you know, below the center line on the deck, your bait tank, it's going to take up a lot of room if you try to put it back there, because you already got your leaning post. You know, you have your seat, and depending on what type of skiff you got, if you got the molded in live well and the molded in deck and all that stuff, then you're not going to have room for a bait tank. You're going to have to put it up front. But yeah. Well, guys, it's been a good show. It's a short one tonight. My co-hosts aren't here with me, so we're gonna keep it short and sweet. Would have stayed on longer if I could have got some interaction, maybe some questions, some things to expound upon and talk about. But I have rambled on my own long enough, and we'll see you guys next week. Good night.